It's absolutely wild, but I also know that you are wild out here on Rebel HQ. What you got? What you doing lately?
Adrian, we just put out a video, and by the way, kudos to Adrian Lawrence. She was the original contributor to Rebel HQ who proved that this Facebook program, YouTube program would work. So Adrian blazed the trail, and the rest of us are just sort of following along. But we just did a video today, Adrian, about Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was caught lying, and that may be no surprise to a lot of people. Think, oh, well, she's lying every time she opens her mouth. But no, the Georgia Republican in this particular case, she entered her lies into the congressional record, which is a different order of magnitude. And it's something that's pretty simple. It's about when she experienced a threat of a mass shooting at her school, and when there was an act that was passed by Congress requiring schools to be gun-free safety zones. And Marjorie Taylor Greene got the sequence wrong, and she's been blaming Joe Biden for years for what she experienced. It's absolute nonsense, and it's the kind of stuff that's so easily checked. And so it's just, it goes to show, for people who like videos where you can see Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert or police interactions or constitutional issues or the news of the day, provided with some reporting and some analysis, Rebel HQ, both on Facebook and on YouTube, to see me and the always amazing Adrian Lawrence.
Yes, you said it all. Thank you so much, David. And thank you all for watching. I will catch you here tomorrow, and you can catch David and I on Rebel HQ. See you later.
Welcome, friends. Welcome, family. What's up, Ma? Welcome to The Watch. This is a Tuesday edition of the show. Finally, we're back behind a little bit, so I'm gonna talk really fast. But the first thing I want to let you guys know is I'm a multimillionaire. It was Vegas. Maybe I'll tell you guys about that later. I'm just getting back into town, settling back into my chair. Glad you guys are with me. You just might be me even happier after you see this.
The drag queens have continued their relentless attack on our children. So here I am with yet another episode of Drag Queen Prison Hour, where I showcase all of the drag queens who were arrested or sentenced to prison this week for being draggy as hell and traumatizing so many children with their sparkly outfits and their really catchy musical numbers that get stuck in your head for like weeks at a time, and all of that big hair and perfect makeup. Look at how many drag queens. They're everywhere. There are so many of them. I think we need to do something about this.
That, my friends, is Dara Faye. I've spoken about her many times on the show, and you guys are running, who the hell is Dara Faye? There she is. Dara Faye joins me on the program today. There's so many things I could say about you, but I don't want to just blow up your spot. I'm happy that you're with us. This is the thing that you guys may want to check out. TikTok, maybe your Instagram, but definitely Twitter. Dara goes and exposes the BS behind all the lies that are going across the country. How you doing, Dara? How you feeling today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
It should be a good time. I think we're gonna work some things out. You've been a bit into politics, dipped your toe in, but definitely one thing you can do is keep everyone updated on the societal ills that we're going through, which we have plenty to discuss today. So you know what, let's go ahead and jump to the breaking news that has been going on, because this happened just before we jumped in. We're trying to figure out exactly the best way to go about this. Let's just let NBC News tell you guys what's happening.
There is a verdict in the civil trial against Donald Trump. It was filed by writer E. Jean Carroll. She accused the former president of raping her in a department store dressing room back in the 90s. I've got the verdict sheet just in front of me right now on the battery charge, and that gets to, again, the accusation of rape. Question 1, did Mr. Trump rape Miss Carroll? The jury voted no. On the question of did Mr. Trump sexually abuse Ms. Carroll? Yes, the jury said. Moving down to question 4, Ms. Carroll was injured as a result of Mr. Trump's conduct. The jury said yes. And if yes, inserting an amount of $2 million, a monetary judgment against the former president. Moving on to the question, Mr. Trump's conduct was willfully or wantonly negligent, reckless, or done with a conscious disregard of the rights. Yes, the jury said. Now, moving down to the defamation question, there were ultimately 5 questions related to that accusation. Did Ms. Carroll prove by preponderance of the evidence that Mr. Trump's statement was defamatory? The jury said yes, it was. Did Ms. Carroll prove by clear and convincing evidence that Mr. Trump's statement was false? The jury said yes. Mr. Trump made the statements with actual malice. The jury, yes.
There you have it, the breaking news of Donald Trump in that defamation trial, that civil suit with E. Jean Carroll in those accusations of rape from decades ago. He's been found liable, and also liable to pay $5 million to E. Jean Carroll. As they came out, her attorneys didn't say much as far to the media, but did say, we are happy. Trump's people said, we're gonna fight this, and we're gonna appeal it, we're gonna win. Now, of course, with civil cases versus criminal ones is a different level of evidence you have to prove and get that done. And apparently it got done, including the defamation with him saying he never knew the lady and I can't believe that she'd say such a thing. He's calling it a hoax and a con job, because those are Donald Trump's favorite terms to use. So Dara, we've got it to this point now. This is just a little bit of breaking news as we're seeing it come in. I think many people saw this coming. They said that that E. Jean Carroll's attorneys at the end were pointing out how he didn't show up. He didn't say much at all as far as this trial goes, and just kind of shoved it aside. And that was a big part of how this went. What are your thoughts on how this went down, and if it was more to come, actually?
I mean, I don't find that the verdict was exactly shocking. It kind of sucks that he didn't get hit with that rape liability. Would have been, because can't put it past him, but and it kind of sucks that he survived through the verdict. I was hoping maybe a different ending would have come from this. I think he's been kind of verbal about it on Truth Social, if I saw correctly earlier. So
he did point out how this is going to be he's fighting back, and there's more, because beforehand, of course, we heard that he wasn't. The judge actually made sure that he wasn't able to talk about this before this verdict came down, which I think when a judge tells you that, you have a track record of doing things like this. Now, the only last question left is as he's running for president again, and as we see him go into these potential primaries with other Republicans, how much this could potentially hurt him, or let's keep it real, because we know MAGA, or help him, as last time it did.
He's gonna grift off this now. Now it's just gonna be a new thing, and all his supporters are gonna pay that $5 million bill he's got.
Oh. It's a thought I hadn't had yet. Wait until the emails come. Wait until the next steps come. Because even when it came to the other cases that he's having to face, he wants that mugshot. He wants that next ability to then grift and say, "Look how the government is coming for me." Yeah. The most unfair treatment of a former president in history, and I'll just lap it up. Hey, pay your money, it's not mine. So there's the breaking news. Let's go ahead and get to what we were gonna start with originally, you guys, because we come off of a weekend of more mass murder, more politicians not giving a hot damn about any of it. But that did remind many people about a video that isn't brand new, but it still applies today. Trigger warning here, you guys. This video that's put out by the FBI depicts gun violence.
Hi, can I get you started with drinks?
Oh, sorry, I gotta take this.
We'll need a minute.
It's here with Sadie. Yeah, by the bar. That's fine.
Back up! You can't be here anymore! Get out of my face, what, man. You think I'm afraid of you? Man, get off! 911, there's a camera there.
If you were caught in an active shooter event, what would you do? Know how to survive.
So instead of doing something about our gun violence, we're trying to start telling people how to survive in these situations, because it could happen anywhere to anyone at any time. Obviously, this isn't a flex. This is trying to protect people in ways that just is random, ducking your heads with violence. But either way it goes, as we're finding ourselves in war zones constantly, this PSA was released in 2020, as I was pointing out, and it's rounding again. Again, the FBI was a part about this. Here's the other aspects of it that, again, make this entire situation, this perceived situation that many people have gone through, even worse. Look at the way that you're supposed to run out of the restaurant. Here's more points.
Chances of survival. Don't go up here.
Police, where is he?
By the bar, blue jeans, black shirt. Empty hands up, follow their instructions.
If you're a black woman running out of the bar, make sure your hands are up, empty hands towards the police, because they may shoot you too. I think that's another admission of the way that things go about in this country. Here's the next section of this whole thing, because you have to have the right mindset, is what this thing is pointing out. Make sure you repeat to yourself, I'm no victim, I'm gonna get out of this. That'll help, watch.
Both my exits are blocked by the shooter. I gotta stay hidden. I'm no victim. I'm ready for this.
I'm in the direct line of fire if I head for either exit, but I have other options to help me survive. Guys, come on, in here, come on. Go, go, go. Lock and barricade the door.
Now, in case you weren't jazzed about being in this situation yet, there's one more part. You just might need, a military-grade helmet and maybe military-grade weaponry to go and take on the shooter in this last part here.
We have to fight to survive. If you control the weapon, you control the shooter. I'll go for the gun. He'll go for his arms. The bartender will go for the head.
Where is he?
Remember, run, hide, or fight.
Never forget, Dara, run, hide, fight. And if this dramatic recreation had you all jazzed up because it looks like a thriller movie, it's because it kind of was. Again, this is from the FBI, and this is what they put as the description on their YouTube channel for this. This is a trailer for the FBI training video. Trailer, run, hide, fight. Customers at a bar are caught in an active shooter event. Will they know what to do to survive? Stay tuned if you live past tomorrow. What are your thoughts here on this? This is madness.
Oh my God. The breaking of the fourth wall kills me. It's so, first of all, they're assuming that these people are gonna go into shock or be panicked and that they're gonna be, the fact that it was a success that they attacked the shooter and took him down it's comical. I mean, all of that, I watch it, and while it's just completely sick that this is coming from our government agencies, it kind of reads like an SNL skit, like
100%.
Like I can't help but, I was cracking up watching it, and as messed up as it is, it's just like, how is this real? How is this like, this is what we're doing, this is where we're at? Like,
did you notice something else from this last scene? So the man on the date there who's talking to us,
it had a happy ending.
Yeah, he showed up. But did you see the happy ending for the bartender and maybe the bar back? We don't know, but we do know our star made it out. So in most Hollywood productions, the star will make it out, and in all those supporting actors, they have to die though, because we do have to show some level of reality to it, which maybe they kind of did, but they allowed you to assume it then at the end. But one thing that you're definitely inspired to do is, if you find yourself on a date, make sure you're prepared to have all these steps in place where if you get separated from your date, that you can find a way out. If you're the waitress, if you're the bartender, if you're another patron that's next to them, just be ready. Is this something that we want to be teaching folks and saying, this is America, hey, please come. We invite the brightest and the best of every other country, which, by the way, those countries are now telling people these travel warnings for coming to a country where you might find yourself shot. Weird how that works.
It's really embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
And if this was happening anywhere else and we were giving travel warnings to our citizens, it'd be vehement and it'd be talking about how we're the best damn country in the world because we don't have these issues. We're the one most developed country that has these issues by far from anyone else. Let's take this first break, you guys. Looking forward to a couple of your comments. We're gonna get motoring though, because we have so much more happening, of course, from the thing that happened over the weekend. Also, the response to that. And I don't think you're gonna be surprised, by the way, Governor Abbott is responding to these things. There's that and a lot more. We're gonna get to it in a second. See you in a minute.
Welcome to the Damage Report. I'm John Idarola. This is gonna be a big one. Meanwhile, in the Arctic, you know where this is going. You watch the Damage Report, the Arctic's on fire. Obviously, why would we be talking about the Arctic except to tell you that it's melting once again? The Republicans aren't that interested in it. I wonder why. Lift out of poverty up to 3.7 million people, including an estimated 1.3 million children. Hashtag save the children? Not if it costs money. I mean, come on.
What's happening? I'm Dr. Rashad Richey, host of Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey. Here's the bottom line. I play no games about policy, period. Too many people's lives are at stake. So here's what I do. I challenge conservative ideology that hinders the growth of this country. I make sure we place our facts in proper context, and I have no problem debating anyone on a position that I have. Progressives have the ideas to change the world, but when you really look at it, progressives have always change this world for the better. I want you to tune into my new show, Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey, right here on the TYT Network, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time. I'll see you there.
Everything that we've accomplished over the years is because of our members who've allowed us to remain independent of corporate interests and reach 20 million followers. Now is the time to bring as many people into the progressive movement as possible. We're inviting you to be the change and help bring a community-powered progressive change machine to life. Details are at tyt.com/change. If you're a member, thank you. We need you to remain so. If you're one of the thousands of viewers out there who's not a member yet, the time has come for you to join now. We need you more than ever. tyt.com/change.
Watch this, you guys. What's up? What's up? What's up? Let's find out what's up. Let's start here. Vicky, TYT member, says, "Welcome, Dara. Soups on Jayar." I don't know usually what the soups on me means, but the beers are on me for sure. I'll buy the first round. It's warm here, Dara. Everyone will love you. Also, Mickey see this over here. Dragon confirms that. Says, "Welcome to the family, Dara. Hope you come back around." And also Wolf Dragon Donna says, "Awesome work, Dara." Go follow her, you guys. Dara Faye everywhere, FAYE. Go follow her. It's a good time. She's actually pretty informational with all this, dispelling all the BS that you'll see. It's not just about the drag queens. She hits all these societal factors, also with children and the way politicians treat them as well. Let's jump to this next story, the way Abbott is reacting to this shooting. Or we're just rounding up the migrants and taking them all back to their own country. That's what's happening down in Texas. And you may not be surprised that this is Governor Abbott's response after a weekend of mass shootings, one down in Texas, of course. And he's announced his tactical border force because Title 42 is gonna be ending soon. So we have to make sure that we politicize the hell out of that and make sure we don't talk about how Americans are murdering each other. But still, he also went on Fox News to promote his new tactical force because that's all they care about. Let's go.
We are deploying today a new Texas tactical border force made up of elite National Guard who are specifically trained for one thing. And that is to identify areas where illegal immigrants are trying to cross the border and to fill that gap and to repel them, to deny them access to entry into the United States. They can do it one of several ways. They can physically turn back those who are trying to cross the border illegally. Also, they were building immediate concertina wire border barriers that prevent people from coming across the border.
They're doing all these things as far as the border. What are they doing as far as these murders that are happening in your state? Children dead again, families completely disrupted and will never recover. But still, let's talk about this. It's okay, by the way, you can talk about this if you think that's an issue, but we can also talk about the problems that are happening within the state because of course, it's all based in the dangerous nature of these folks that are coming up from other countries. He not only did that, you guys, he also held a press conference to talk about this because there's nothing else that he can think of except for this. Watch more.
Right now, as we're speaking, the Texas National Guard is loading Black Hawk helicopters and C-130s, deploying specially trained National Guard members for the Texas Tactical Border Force. They will be deployed to hot spots along the border to intercept, to repel, and to turn back migrants who are trying to enter Texas illegally.
Big news coming out, Dara. And by the way, Title 42, for folks who are seeing this getting tossed around all the time, this was something that came into effect during the Trump administration, using it as a new tool to keep folks from even having the opportunity to seek asylum here in the country. And they wrote it off as a way to help fight against COVID-19 spread, which for some reason they also thought didn't exist, told people that you should take hydroxychloroquine to cure it, and also that it's just fake all around. But still, we needed this in place to keep from folks spreading it to each other. It doesn't have to make sense because they just did these in different intervals to continue to scare their base. So that's what it is happening. By the way, the Biden administration expanded it and kept it around once he came in, which angered a few folks who also voted for him. So now the tables have turned. It's going to start, it's going to expire, and now it's Biden's fault. He's welcoming in all these migrants to come and break into your houses and also assault your children. That's the ploy here that's going. We've got more of the way they're trying to approach this. If it couldn't be any more Republican, let's jump down to graphic 3, you guys. This is images that are floating around in response to this as well. Bernie Carrick said, this invasion, if you haven't heard that before, that was from what you're gonna soon discover, 2018, of the US is authorized by Joe Biden's White House and is being supported by Senator Schumer, Pelosi, and the Democrats. And he mentions everyone. Weird, because there's Republicans that are also in office. Apparently it's not being backed up by them. Who's gonna financially support these people? The American taxpayer. I don't give a damn about what party you're a part of. We got to stop this. Look at that horrific picture. It's scary. It's all of these folks. Look, they're waving flags from their home countries and they're coming to come murder you. There's another guy, Richard Grenell, also posted the same picture. It's going around conservative pundits and politicians' Twitter feeds, probably Instagram and everything like that. The one thing you should probably know though, you guys, is that this picture, this scary picture, it was also a scary picture back in 2018 when these same types of folks spread it around and said, look, the migrant caravan is on its way to our borders. And if we don't do something about it, like vote for more Republicans, it's gonna come and get us. Sounds like a political ploy. And then after that midterm election, how much did you hear about this? How much did you see those pictures? They waited till 2023 to recycle them.
They're treating it like it's like the zombie apocalypse, like all these people are trying to get out of Raccoon City, you know? It's so ridiculous. Like the terror journalism that's coming out of these people, that they're just playing into people's fears and quite literally presenting it as if, look at that picture. It's like, it literally looks like it came straight out of Resident Evil and it's ongoing and it's a perpetual problem that this is like, this is absurd. To me, it's just doomsday journalism, and I'm being really, really, really generous by using the word journalism to describe it because
it's politics.
Call that journalism. Yeah.
There's a reason why politicians then also support the doomsday style journalism, and also spread these types of things. Love that there are pundits that support them, say these types of things. They need to push that lie. So even when it gets dispelled and obviously point out how much of liars that they are, it doesn't matter. It's already penetrated the brains and it stays. So you'll still hear your uncle at Thanksgiving talk about those damn migrants.
They're taking advantage of people who already don't trust mainstream media. And unless something happens right in front of them, they're not gonna believe anything that's told to them unless it comes from, places like Fox News or I guess some of their trusted Twitter personalities. I'm not.
That is the basis for all these. Let's shift to this next story, you guys, because another aspect of everything that happened over the weekend was who is this shooter that murdered several people down in Allen, I think it was Allentown, Texas. And what it is that he was about, because that's always the point of contention. Let's go to this next story.
Yeah, and Josh, that doesn't help any. It certainly doesn't help race relations in America when they immediately default to white supremacists. When you were looking at a Hispanic guy, saw the video, saw the pictures, he's laying there dead. Thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, look, I mean, Eric, you emphasized it, but this guy's name is Mauricio Garcia. I mean, if he's the white supremacist, then he's probably the dumbest white supremacist in the history of white supremacy.
Or if you don't realize that someone can be named anything and be a white supremacist, you could be the dumbest person in the history of punditry, I suppose. So there's Newsmax spending a good portion of their time talking about someone named Mauricio. And look at this picture that they also posted of him saying, why are they jumping on the fact this guy could potentially be a white supremacist all the time? They jump straight to it. Maybe because they're all over the place. But the problem with this entire reporting is that the one that they're showing is this guy. His name is Mauricio Garcia. He's not the same guy though. The photo does show a Mauricio Garcia, but he's 36 years old, 3 years older than the actual shooter who opened fire on innocent bystanders on Saturday. And his mugshot was taken on August 4th of 22 when he was arrested, and he has nothing to do with the shooting at an Allen Outlet Mall over the weekend. But that doesn't stop them from going through this whole thing. As a matter of fact, Greg Kelly goes on to talk about more aspects of this and why it's open and shut, that this is all just made up. Watch.
I thought I was hallucinating after that horrible Texas shooting at that mall north of Dallas, all those people killed. We didn't know anything for a good long time, like a day and a half went by. No information whatsoever until they told us this guy did it, Mauricio Garcia. And oh yes, a white supremacist with neo-Nazi ties. Now, look, this is not a white supremacist. And oh, by the way, we abhor white supremacy. But you know what the left does, right? They think anything MAGA must be white supremacist. That is appalling. This is just pathetic, all right? Now, there's a tattoo, many tattoos. And someone at one point tried to say that's the city of Dallas tattoo. No, it looks like it's the Puro Tango Blast prison gang tattoo, all right? This is not a white supremacist.
He's also not the guy that you guys are supposed to be talking about. So they also don't want you to believe that some of the things we've seen, these social media posts that are associated with the actual shooter and also the tattoos that he has are associated with him either. The AP independently did verify the account though, which also featured an image of a traffic ticket with Garcia's name and birth date, as well as paperwork from a motel where he stayed before the shooting. The real Garcia, by the way. Federal agents investigating what motivated the shooting have also reviewed the online posts. That's according to a federal law enforcement official who could not discuss details of that investigation publicly, but he did speak to the AP on a condition of anonymity. So he's given us this information that they would probably like for you to ignore, which I guess several people have, because once they see things like AP, Reuters, news outlets, they go, oh my God, can't listen to those. Those just might give me real information. One more part though, because as you can imagine, Fox News is running with this as well. Here's Laura Ingraham, a screenshot from her show, where she talked about a bloody election strategy is to make sure that people think the person associated with this shooting, which has been confirmed by all these independent outlets and also by law enforcement themselves, that no, it's not really the thing. It's actually what Democrats have put together. So Dara, I have this one quick question before we break this down further. How is it possible that someone can then shoot up this mall with all these folks and somehow they can sell this as this is a Democratic strategy? So did they put the guy up to it? They say, here, go shoot up a bunch of innocent folks and then we can flip this into an election strategy thing. They don't have to do it. It's happening everywhere.
These are the same people though who claim every shooting has crisis actors. Mm-hmm. So, and like, not for nothing, but like Newsmax, they don't exactly have like journalistic integrity. So none of this is shocking. And the fact that the left doesn't get ahead of it beforehand actually is what I find more shocking. It happens every time, every shooting without fail. Like we need to be getting ahead of the game and we're not. And that to me is a big failure on the Democratic Party.
Well, how so? Like you said, get ahead of it. What's like saying? Coming
out with, instead of just, we'll see like silence, like we don't know anything, whatever. And then you immediately, the right they always know. They always have like the inside scoop, and most of the time it's incorrect. Soon as that starts coming out, it needs to be getting shot down.
Officially.
Yeah, and it's not. The Democratic Party tends to stay silent on things for whatever reason until like way too long. And by the next one. Yeah. So like
the next time someone gets shot is how long they wait.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We really need to be kind of jumping ahead of it, and because they're repetitive. It's insanity to allow it to continue, and like the left and Democrats just not doing anything about it. They're handling everything the exact same and then acting shocked when shit like this with Newsmax happens. It's performative at this point, in my opinion.
Well, that's all they need to do. We gotta keep that cycle going of convincing enough people that that is what's happening. By the way, how are you gonna explain this away? His name is Mauricio Garcia, though, and he can't possibly be a white supremacist. It's not like his name is Nick Fuentes or anything like that. How can someone with a name that sounds like that be a white supremacist? It's just Nick Fuentes. God. Or maybe there's this other guy who this is back in 2014, I believe, liked to wear swastikas on his arm while he drove a taxi. He was 26 years old and he was getting suspended. He was very upset about this whole thing. Let's look at a picture of Gabriel Diaz, because he can't be a white supremacist. His name is Gabriel Diaz. And this is what he said, though. I'm a National Socialist, what you guys call a Nazi. I am. I'm a believer of it, is what he said. Who says you have to be white to be a National Socialist? You don't have to be white. It can be anybody. Odd how that works. Maybe the people who support them and go through these same types of thought processes of white supremacy and being Nazis, they're the ones saying, hey, F you, I'm actually one of you. You can accept me as I am. Except, in these times when you don't want to accept responsibility for who you've riled up. That's the reasons why they turn them down. Okay, you guys, let's jump to this next story. Probably one of my favorites of the day, not because of the severity of what happened, but because of just how comically opposite of these mantras that these gun nuts like to push around, how they actually live. Let's go to this story. That's the Lone Gar handgun shooting range down in the San Antonio area in Texas. And that's their promotional video where they'll show all the different things you can do. It's a huge complex, all these type of things, clay shooting, look, ranges, all these different kinds of weapons that you can fire. It's so much fun. One thing that you can also do apparently is walk in and walk out with a huge gun. Machine gun is what they called it. Matter of fact, here's some surveillance video of someone doing that very thing over the weekend. So as you see in that surveillance video, a woman walked in, paid with cash, which is against the store policy, and then walked out with that huge gun. You see it on the counter right there? She walked out with it and went to her right. Remember that when we look at this image of the front of this shooting range location versus where she then walked away. So there to your left where you see that Statue of Liberty sign that we also saw, she walked out. That apparently is the rental office area where she was. She walked out and went in this picture to the left. Where you see that highlighted circle, that's the shooting range that she was supposed to walk towards. And as you could tell, there was no one there to make sure that she goes to the designated area. So she got her ass in her car and she took off. That's how this whole thing went down. And a staff member talked about this whole thing and how it happened. This is the way they described it. The staff member who also rented out the firearm didn't follow the policy in place to prevent thefts like this from occurring. Josh Felker, who's the owner, president of this whole location, said that the employee accepted cash from the woman instead of a credit card. Staff also later realized that the ID card, which she did use, was kept in exchange for that rental, didn't belong to the woman, and wrote fake information on that liability form. So, man, this is all freaking everyone out. By the way, it took them a couple hours before they even realized that she was gone with that gun. One more part about this, because this really stands out to me. In the employee's defense, this, I think the president of this company continued to say, his mother died earlier this past week. And so he was at work, not because he had to be at work, but because he wanted to be at work. It's a sad situation. And just so his mind was at other places because of the trauma that he was going through. And he said it's not excusable, but it does happen. So they're trying to find this gun. They're looking for the person looking for it that took it. But there's one other part about this that really stood out to me, because I went through their website, Dara, and this is one thing I saw over and over and over again, from their staff photos to even just this graphic here. Apparently the phrase, come and take it, they're taking quite literally down at Lone Star Handgun, because that lady walked in and she just took it. By the way, what that gun is, Felker also pointed out, she rented an MP5 submachine gun. It's a powerful 9mm gun capable of firing 900 rounds per minute. After customers rent out these firearms, they're supposed to go to the range next, as I pointed out, but instead she went the other way and took off. Let's look at a picture of that gun, in case you guys aren't the gun nuts that I'm probably not talking to. This is the gun that could cause such mass murders, Dara. But she took off, ran off with it, and even as of now, they haven't recovered that gun. We will get to how they did actually catch up with the suspect. What are your thoughts here? This is madness, man.
Well, okay. First of all, and I don't think you actually showed the part in the video where, I don't know if it was the owner of the shop or what, had said they tried to justify, well, at least the gun wasn't loaded. Like as if you can't get ammo. Like that was, it's pretty comical. Even here saying who put out that statement, by the way, of the employee's mother passing.
Oh, I think it was the owner or president of it, Josh Felker.
The employee himself, right?
No, not himself, but he was saying he was, going through it. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we're gonna trust the store owner on that, as if he didn't actually make his employee probably come in because of the capitalistic society that we live in. I don't understand why they took so long to figure out who she was, considering. Wait, did you not want me to give away whose ID it was?
No, totally. Go for it.
Because it was her dead sister's ID who had passed away in a fire, I believe. Yep. Why was that even difficult to track her down? The fact that it took even 24 hours to find her, I feel like, is way too long when a gun has gone missing, a machine gun, no less.
I think it was 2 to 3 days even it took for them to get over 24 hours, 2 days minimum at least took them to catch up with them, which it was based off of that ID. They looked up some social media accounts and realized that the woman who was on the ID wasn't her, because she has since passed away. But she did use her sister's.
Social media? Sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The police looked up her social media?
Yeah, they were actually looking into it, because once this gun shop or this gun range was asking for help from authorities, they had to give them all the information they could to find her. And by the way, that woman that you're seeing now is the mugshot from the woman who did pull this off. Her name is Amber Herring, and she's only 25 years old. They're still looking for a motive behind this. I'm not sure how much talking she's done. But the other thing that they're still looking for, as of right now, at least from things I've read, so correct me if I'm wrong, that gun is still missing. Good job. By the way, in case it wasn't easy enough for you to purchase a gun, if you need to, just walk up, give these guys $35-40 and say, I'm gonna rent it for an hour, and walk the hell away. That's the way people respond and act when they're on these machines of death, when they think it's just normalcy. That's how normal it's become. Would you hand grenades to someone? I'm sorry?
Texas is doing really well. I mean, all the positive stories coming out of Texas lately, just like back to back, they're doing great for America. I'm proud of them.
And then as children die and other innocent folks die when they go out on a normal afternoon, the response is, let's worry about something completely different so that maybe you guys will understand what it is that we're covering up. That's the way this has been going about for some time. Let's go to, this will be a shift of gears. Sorry, we've guys been on guns and shooting so far in this show. I understand that. But sometimes people are trying to make a difference in the world. Sometimes these people are from Canada. Let's go to this story.
A Vancouver man wants to open up his own store, not to sell groceries or clothing, but hard drugs. He's well aware it's a risky move, but hopes his shop will reduce the number of people dying of overdoses.
Jerry Martin is a former drug addict. Now sober, he wants to open up his own brick and mortar shop to sell hard drugs, including heroin, cocaine, and meth.
It takes the extreme to get things done sometimes.
He recently lost his brother due to overdose and says there's a need to provide a safe supply.
You know, a lot of these people, in fact, all of them, they have to take a risk every day where they go get their drugs. They're either going to get something that isn't clean or safe, or they can put themselves in a dangerous situation. There's a lot of predators out there that'll get girls to do things for their drugs, whether they got the money or not, or they'll put them in a situation. And I don't think it's very comfortable for anyone. So they can come in there and not have to worry about that.
Well, There's someone trying to start a new business. Hey, it's capitalism, bro. There's a Vancouver man who opened his own drug selling store right in front of everyone because he was trying to make sure that people get the right drugs clean and safe because, he's had his past with it. But by the way, police already shut him down 24 hours after he opened up that store for drug trafficking. Vice News caught up with him. His name is Jerry Martin, and here he is outside of that store. Sorry, I don't want to laugh at this, but he was serious, which, you know what, I gotta give him props. This is what his sign's saying, in case you guys can't see it. Adults only, 18 plus, ID is required. It's very safe and very double-checked location here. Possession limit, 2.5 grams per drug, per purchase, per person. No exceptions, Dara. By the way, if you guys couldn't see that other sign on the ground next to him, you guys can get different leveling prices for cocaine, crack cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and I believe at the bottom it got cut off as MDMA. Bro, you can get all your stuff that you need, move on, have no worry about the way these street drugs just may be laced, may not be what you're looking for, or could be laced with what everyone's talking about here, all that fentanyl. Dara, what are your thoughts here? Is it something that maybe can catch on?
I admire his entrepreneurship. He's got, he's driven and self-motivated.
Yeah.
I do question where he's getting the drugs from. In the first, I admire that he's testing them to make sure they're safe, but then I want to know how he's testing them. And there's a lot of questions there that I kind of want the answer to.
I'm so disappointed in myself about. I didn't think about where he's getting the drugs from at all. I didn't think about it for a second.
That was the first thing I thought. Where are you getting them from, though? That and who and how he's because if someone gave me all those drugs and they were like, hey, can you test them to make sure they're pure? I would be like, no, I have no idea where to begin with that. How does he know where to begin? He doesn't strike me as someone who's got like lab connections other than meth lab connections. So there's a lot of here.
You have to have a lot of drugs in there in order to be sold at those sizes and maybe make it available to the entire community. Or this is the reasons why he was all apart about this. He's looking to draw some attention to the problem. So let's jump down to graphic 3. This is part of what he did as well, because I think this is why he went to get busted. The store, which was parked next to a police van. It was parked next to a police van. It had bright yellow sandwich boards, as we already saw, featuring those price lists. And Martin, he wore a stab-proof vest as he sold those drugs from behind a plexiglass window inside the shop, and said he wanted to stay close to street prices as well. Now listen, I don't know if you've ever opened a business before, Dara, but I've heard about it. I haven't myself. There's overhead prices you want costs. Location, plexiglass, the stab proof. There's some money coming into this guy's hands.
The most shocking part of the story is that it didn't come out of Florida and is coming from Canada. That I didn't expect that. So
Vancouver.
Specifically Vancouver.
It might be.
I did not expect. I'm sorry.
Cute cat though.
Yeah, she wouldn't get off me. Yeah, and the overhead on this, I'm sure. Who's funding it?
I hope they'd find all this out. Maybe he used to work for the police. Who knows? But again, he's recovering, and he also tragically lost his brother to the same addiction. So he's looking to make things a little bit better. By the way, I don't knock his approach, the point he's trying to make. Which again, that point was he told Vice News that he planned to get arrested, and he's going to use this arrest to make a constitutional challenge to the outlawing of drugs. They've already decriminalized certain levels of it, but you might be surprised to hear, although they decriminalized many of these, you still can't just sell it. Just saying. Let's jump down. We've got a few minutes left to show you guys. Let's go to the G block by request of Miss Dara Faye. There's things going on. There's artists amongst us. Let's listen.
I'm gonna read you a little segment out of a book that I wrote, and it's called The Book of Facts Over Feelings. There once was a nation, strong and bold, until Joe Biden took office and put the entire country in a chokehold. He jacked up the prices, he ignored the border, because he only loves ice cream, not law and order. How did this happen? He sleeps all day. But don't be fooled. He dreams of inflation and different ways for the Americans to pay. The takeaway here is that we need to make change, drain the swamp, and rearrange. Put someone in office who can fix this dump. You may not like it, but my suggestion is Trump. Put anyone who is capable of leading the way. Anyone but these goons, or you will continue to pay. The end.
In case you guys are wondering what Ron DeSantis and other Republicans are looking to replace all these books that they're banning in schools with, apparently it's the book of facts over feelings, produced by this one, I suppose, MAGA-loving conservative here. There, she's got some prose, she's got some rhymes, and apparently it's teaching people. There's more, but I want your first response off the top.
Well, I mean, it is impressive that she was able to write this, but it is like really obvious that she was not raised on Dr. Seuss. She really misses the rhyming mark quite a few times. But I'm obsessed with this. I think it's great. I think she should do a whole series.
Once I heard dump, I knew where we were going, except I was thinking something else about calling him. You guys know where that would go. By the way, you ask and you shall receive. Series part 2. Let's go.
I'm going to be reading segment 2 out of the Book of Facts Over Feelings, written by yours truly. The current administration makes us look like a joke. Day in and day out, they expect us to be woke. Their ideologies resembling that of a circus, acting like clowns and not serving any purpose. Sleepy Joe can't even walk up the stairs, so how is he supposed to deal with daily affairs? Did I mention he can't even ride a bike, but somehow manages to conduct major airstrikes? Taking days upon days to shoot down a balloon, he sits in his office eating ice cream like a buffoon. The lack of accountability is second to none. When a shooting occurs, their only defense is to take away our guns. I'm not sure who else there is to blame. The economy is garbage. To them, it's all a game.
It's lovely. I mean, I'm just waiting for her to put these, bound these, and get them. You know what? Sadly,
I want that audiobook.
She's very proud of it. Like the presentation is there. It's like, well, check it out. The book is beautiful. We're gonna. How many times did she mention the ice cream in between those two different reads?
Love it. More.
Dara, you have a kid. My kid is 11, and I feel like if I asked him to write something poetic, maybe even something politically and poetic, he just might come up with something slightly better than this. But you know, everybody's different. I'm not gonna judge too hard.
I'm judging.
Hopefully you guys won't judge too long that we had to cut off a few minutes of the show. It's it for us. Look how fast, Dara. Appreciate you for joining me on the program, you guys. Dara Faye, check out on all the platforms. I believe you can have that name. It's definitely there on Twitter and also on her TikTok, where she educates with some humor.
I'm either Dara Faye or not Dara Faye. I'm not sure which is which right now off the top of my head.
Search both.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, good times. We look forward to having you back. Maybe we'll have a full show next time. So appreciate you joining us. Also, you guys, thank you for joining me on the program as well. Good to be back. Maybe I'll push tomorrow to talk about my Vegas stories and reasons why I'll be owning that island in no time. Thank you guys for joining me. Up next is the Young Turks, Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, of course. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Big News Wednesday.